No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Andrew, I just watched our debate back. Yes, the fuck you did.
Okay, tell me my positions in. What is forced?
This is what you do, Andrew. You
Yes, it
ask
is.
questions and questions and questions so
So
that you don't actually have to form an opinion and
great.
defend it.
That's great. So
Stop
what do you
using
ground,
descriptive arguments.
What do you ground
Make
morality?
an opinion.
What do you ground
do
morality?
You believe?
Do you agree with me that there are societies which function purely on force?
Yeah, and they suck. Name a singular one that exists that is like fun to live in.
Do you see how now you're changing the goalposts? So
I'm not
you
changing the
before,
goalposts. I'm trying to create a
Remember how we
society,
weren't-
a singular society where no human has any rights that exist.
North Korea. Anything you have that's a right comes from the state.
They still have a right to life. So.
No, there's no right to life. They take you out in the field and shoot you if you look at them cross-eyed.
Why don't you go live in North Korea?
Well, is that an argument?
Would you like to go live in North Korea, Andrew?
This is pure obfuscation.
You believe in coercive power.
This is pure obfuscation.
But my issue
I do think it's fair for you to answer his question.
Okay, so I need you guys to watch this. Andrew Wilson absolutely demolishes this feminist debater who tried to slander him online. And when he calls her out, she can't even define the positions she's been criticizing. Like, watch how fast this falls apart. She comes in hot, claiming he's against women's rights. He's this terrible person. And the second he asks her to actually explain what force doctrine is, the thing she made an entire video attacking, she can't do it. And then it gets even better. She tries to ground human rights outside of God. And Andrew just systematically tears apart every single argument she makes until she's literally stumbling over herself trying to change the subject. This is what happens when you base your entire worldview on feelings instead of logic. Let's get into it.
Played a clip of you.
What? Okay, but I'm going to play clips that'll show the lies about my positions.
I made one video about
and you lied
that
a lot in the
specific
video.
moment.
Lied a lot about my positions. You said things like, this man wants to get rid of women's rights, and you said all sorts of things.
You said that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Andrew, I just watched our debate back. Yes, the fuck you did.
Okay, tell me my positions in. What is force doctrine?
Force doctrine is that whole theory that might makes right. Essentially, It is more... Okay, then why don't you define your theory?
No, you have to listen, first, you can't criticize a position unless you can stably tell me what you think the position means before you criticize it. So what is it? What's force doctrine?
Your position is descriptive. So do you want to define your terms before we argue on whether or not
I want to know what you
agree?
think force doctrine is, because you're critical of it. How can you be critical of a position you can't define?
I mean, I think force doctrine is generally the belief that those who are stronger physically are able to defend their rights.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, then explain it to me, Andrew.
Yeah, force doctrine is the critical belief that rights come to women specifically from men, that women always have to appeal to men for the rights collectively.
Okay, so do you believe that anybody has like inherent rights? That there are any inherent human rights regardless of
Unless
strength?
you can ground them in God, I don't believe that you can ground rights in anything. And if you can, go ahead and do so.
Okay, so then based on your religion, what are the inherent rights that humans have?
Well, first, I need you to understand what the criticism is. So when I say to you, I don't believe that you can ground rights absent religion, do you agree that that's true or false?
I believe that that's false.
Okay, then can you ground rights for me, absent religion?
Do you not know what rights are?
Can you ground them absent religion? Go ahead.
Grounding rights absent of religion. I mean, there's natural law, there's humanistic theories on law.
Well, I don't know which one you're going to go with, but go with one of them.
Okay, well, let's see. Which one would you prefer? We could do humanistic theory. We could do deontological ethics.
I literally don't give a shit. I just want you to ground rights outside of
debate.
I guess, what do you mean ground rights? Do you mean justify human rights?
I mean this. When I say ground rights, what are you appealing to? Let's just make it easy. What are you appealing to for rights?
Morality.
Okay.
That can either be morality through religion, or that can be morality through natural law. That can be morality through a social contract.
I'm not interested in all
that can be morality through creating an egalitarian society that is
Not
functioning.
interested at all in possibilities. I'm interested in the one that you have.
These aren't possible. I mean,
can you tell me what
all of them.
I just want to know what you ground rights in.
I ground rights in morality. Rights are moral. It is just and moral to give people basic rights.
What do you ground morality in?
Are you going to keep asking me, or are you
Yes.
going to actually like make an opinion? This is what you do, Andrew. You
Yes, it
ask
is.
questions and questions and questions so that you don't actually have to form an opinion and
great.
defend it.
That's great. So
Stop
what do you
using
ground,
descriptive arguments.
What do you ground
Make
morality?
an opinion.
What do you ground
Do you
morality
believe
in?
that humans have
What do you
inherent
ground
value?
morality in?
Do you believe that humans have inherent
We
value?
can't go anywhere with the debate unless you can tell me what you ground morals in.
So do you exclusively ground morals in your belief in God?
I've already said 5 times yes. Now I
Okay,
need to
so
know what
if
you
God,
ground.
But hold on. Listen to me. If God did not exist,
I'm not interested
would there
until
be
you tell
zero
me.
morals?
Not interested until you tell me what you ground morality in. Tell me what you ground morality in.
I don't even understand why you're asking this question.
Okay, so
Where are you going with it?
You said, I asked you, do you believe that rights can be grounded outside of God? You said yes. So I'm asking what they're grounded in outside of God.
Social order.
What does that mean?
It means creating a society that functions. If no humans have rights, then you can't function as a society. Everyone would just be attacking each other all the time.
So you would have a society that functioned?
No, you would have an anarchic society if there is no social order.
What would make that unfunctional? It would be something
I mean, no
that
one could
functioned in a way you
collaborate
didn't
with
like.
each other. Everyone would be constantly killing each other and maiming each other and raping each other.
But do you see how you're just making an appeal that morality just is preference-based, just fits?
Dude, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Andrew is literally doing a masterclass in debate right here. And Naima has no idea what just happened to her. Let me break this down for you. She spent the entire first half unable to define force doctrine, the thing she made a video criticizing Andrew about. She said he wants to take away women's rights. And when he asks her what force doctrine even is, she gives some vague answer about might makes right and physical strength. Andrew corrects her immediately. Force doctrine is the belief that women's rights come from men collectively. That's the actual position. And she had no clue. She was criticizing something she didn't even understand. How do you make a video attacking someone's position when you can't even define what that position is? It's embarrassing. But here's where it gets really good. Andrew shifts gears and asks her to ground human rights outside of religion. And watch what she does. She appeals to morality. Okay, great. What do you ground morality in? And she just keeps giving these circular arguments. Social order. What does that mean? A functioning society. But Andrew already pointed out that societies can function purely on force, North Korea being a perfect example. And she has no response except, well, that sucks to live in. Like, yeah, no shit it sucks to live in North Korea. But that's not the argument. The argument is whether or not a society can exist without rights. And Andrew just proved it can. North Korea exists. It's a nightmare, but it exists. So her entire foundation, that rights are necessary for societies to function, just collapsed. And instead of conceding that, she tries to pivot to, well, would you want to live there? That's not an argument. That's an appeal to emotion. And here's the thing about it. Andrew knows exactly what she's doing. She's trying to make him sound like he's defending North Korea, when all he's doing is pointing out a logical flaw in her argument. He's not saying North Korea is good. He's saying her logic doesn't hold up. And she can't handle that because her entire worldview is based on feelings, not facts. I know you guys already see this, but this is what leftists do every single time. They make emotional appeals, they strawman positions they disagree with, and the second you ask them to defend their beliefs with actual logic, they fall apart. Naima came into this thinking she was going to expose Andrew Wilson as some misogynist who hates women. And instead, she exposed herself as someone who doesn't even understand the basics of moral philosophy. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think she knew she was out of her depth going into this? Or does she genuinely believe her own arguments?
It's not preference-based. It's a necessity. It's a human necessity.
It's not necessary
Yes,
for you to have rights.
Rights are necessary for survival. The
Demonstrate
right
it.
to life.
The right to life?
Yes, the right to life is necessary for survival.
You think that there's a right to life?
Yes, of course I believe there's a right to life.
Okay, and what do you ground that in?
I ground that in our ability to survive as a species. If nobody had a right to life, then what would stop Brian from just shooting up everyone in this room?
Force.
Our society could not function based solely on force.
Then how come societies...
We would all just be beating each other up all the time.
Then how come societies right now do?
Societies don't exist solely on force. We have tons of other forms of power that exist in society.
Do you agree with me that there are societies which function purely on force?
Yeah, and they suck. Name a singular one that exists that is like fun to live in.
Do you see how now you're changing the goalpost? So
I'm not
you
changing the goalpost. I'm trying to create a society.
Remember how we weren't
that
talking about interruptions?
progressive.
Can I at least make the point?
You've interrupted me like 5 times since we started.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Sure.
Well, so anyway, where you switched the goalpost here was you said that societies cannot exist. They can't exist absent rights. And my contention here is that they can. They can exist just via force.
Eventually,
hang on.
Exist.
Let me make the point. Let me make the point. They can exist absent rights. And you say that rights are necessary for societies to exist. Clearly, that's not true. I can point to you right now societies where they don't have rights.
Name a singular society where no human has any rights that exist.
North Korea. Anything you have that's a right comes from the state.
They still have a right to life. So.
No, there's no right to life. They take you out in the field and shoot you if you look at them cross-eyed.
Why don't you go live in North Korea?
Well, is that an argument?
Would you like to go live in North Korea, Andrew?
Is that an argument?
Are you arguing in favor of North Korea? You think the North Korean government structure is fun? A vibe? Like, why would anyone want to go there?
What does that have to do with anything I just said?
Because it's not a sustainable society.
Okay, but
it's a society that perpetuates human suffering.
Let's try this again.
Because no one has any free will.
I know that.
Why don't you make an opinion now?
As we're doing the obfuscation here, I just want to point this out. I asked you how you ground rights. You said rights exist absent preference, and I said, okay, if they exist absent preference, how come I can point? Well, you said you have to have rights for there to even be a society. I can point to a society where humans have no rights, and clearly that's a society. So I don't understand how it is that you think that you can't have societies which exist without rights, and you still haven't given me accounting for where rights come from. And so it's critical. I gave you my opinion about force doctrine. I told you what I think about rights.
So do you?
Hang on. And so I told you what I think about rights. Right now, we're just clarifying the language, so you can't do the fallacy of equivocation. I don't want you to move between separate definitions of a word using vagueness, which is fallacious, so fallacious debate move. I want you instead to be very clear on what rights are, what you ground them in, where they come from, and that's what we're debating about if we're talking about rights. So please do so.
We're not debating about that. We're debating about force doctrine and the morality of force doctrine. Do you believe that force doctrine is moral? Do you believe that it is moral to take rights away from people on the basis of force?
This is pure obfuscation.
Do you believe in coercive power?
This is pure obfuscation.
But my issue
I do think it's fair for you to answer his
questions.
It
is.
All right, so let's talk about what just happened here. Andrew Wilson absolutely dominated this debate from start to finish. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say Naima lost this the moment she couldn't define force doctrine. You cannot criticize a position you don't understand. And Andrew made that point like 5 times, and she still couldn't give him a coherent answer. But here's what really stood out to me. Andrew isn't just winning because he's more prepared or because he knows philosophy better, though both of those things are true. He's winning because his worldview is grounded in something. He grounds morality in God. You can agree with that or not, but it's a foundation. It's consistent. It doesn't move. Naima, on the other hand, is trying to ground morality in social order and functioning societies and survival as a species, and none of that works because it's all just preference-based. Andrew calls her out on it. You're just making an appeal that morality fits your preference, and she has no response except to keep interrupting and trying to shift the conversation. And that's the thing about debating leftists. They don't actually have a foundation for their beliefs. They just know what feels right to them, and they assume everyone else should agree. And when you press them on it, when you ask them to actually justify their positions, they can't. They fall back on emotion. Would you want to live in North Korea? Yeah, no. But that's not the question. The question is whether your moral framework is logically consistent. And hers isn't. Andrew exposed that over and over again. And by the end of this, even the moderator had to step in and tell Naima she needs to answer the question. That's how bad it got. So here's my verdict. Andrew won this decisively. Naima came in unprepared, made claims she couldn't back up, and got systematically dismantled by someone who actually knows what he's talking about. This is what happens when you try to debate feelings versus facts. Facts win every time. If you guys enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to MB because this is what we do here. We cut through the noise and call out the BS. Stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.